We are live, we are live, we are live, we are live. What's up, guys? Just a quick little stream, talk some boxing, all that good stuff. You know how it is. You know how it is. Main fight this weekend, of course, is Canelo Alvarez versus Charlo. I can't really get all that excited for that particular fight. Not really expecting too much from it, to tell you the truth. I'm expecting Canelo to win. Not really expecting an upset or anything like that. The card itself is, I guess, relatively decent. Jesus Ramos versus Erickson Lubin. That's the fight I'm looking for, to be honest. Jesus Ramos is a good prospect, in my opinion, at 154. Erickson Lubin, he's got his limitations, but he's got a bit of experience. He's actually quite skilled, despite his lack of durability. It's a good test for Jesus Ramos. I'm expecting Ramos to win, but I think it's a good bit of matchmaking. Hopefully he's tested. I think he will be for a few rounds, but I think his pace, his work rate, his strength, his youth will be a bit too much for Erickson Lubin. But it's a good fight. It's a good fight on the undercard there. Also on the undercard, Yordenis Ugas versus Mario Barrios. I didn't even realize that fight was on. It's okay. It's okay, not too bad. Elijah Garcia, who a lot of people are talking about, he's fighting Jose Resendiz. A decent fight. Frank Sanchez is on the bill. He's fighting Scott Alexander. Poor that is. That's really poor. Alexander Vodsik is on the card for some reason. He's fighting in a 8-rounder against a less than descript opponent. So there's a few things to look out for on the card. What's up, Bruce? How you doing, man? Oh, you got Barrios. I think Ugas. It depends on what Ugas has left, but if Ugas is anywhere near his old level, I think he'll outbox Mario Barrios. But Ugas at this stage, he is there for the taking, let's be real. He must be late 30s at this point. He must be late 30s. So yeah, maybe Barrios could take advantage of that. But I'm leaning towards Ugas on points. It's a decent fight, though. It's a decent enough undercard fight. It's a shame about Frank Sanchez and his opponent, Scott Alexander. Scott Alexander is a heavyweight journeyman. You would after Sanchez beats F.A. Ajagba, I was hoping he would push on, but he's not really found the fights, to be honest. He's not really had the fights. Battle of two-shot fighters. Maybe, man, maybe. Although Barrios is a lot younger, but he has taken punishment, as we know. It's a decent fight, though. For an undercard, I think it's a decent fight. There's also a couple of cards in the UK. There's a Sky Sports card that's absolutely terrible, not even covering that. And there's a card on DAZN. Jay Opataya defends his IBF Cruiserweight title. He's fighting Jordan Thompson, who's a domestic fighter from the UK. 15-0, long, rangy, a bit of power, but very inexperienced. Very inexperienced. I'm taking Opataya to win that fight comfortably. Aside from that card itself isn't great either, to tell you the truth. Shavon Clark's on the undercard and a load of women, so I'm not interested. Rio, what's up, man? Mike. What's up, Mike? Evening, Del. I maintain Canelo will take an L soon, but I don't think it's going to be this weekend. But in all honesty, I won't be surprised. Haven't been impressed in a while. He's an old 33-year-old. I agree with Canelo not looking impressive recently. I do agree, but yeah, I think he has enough to beat a guy like Charlo. I think he'll struggle maybe with a guy like Benavidez, who's young, who's strong, who's bigger, throws a lot more punches. I think he may struggle with Benavidez. If we're looking at the fights he can take on the PBC side of things, I think Benavidez and David Morrell are really hard fights for Canelo at this stage. Because I agree, I think Canelo is deteriorating. I think he's deteriorating. He's becoming a much more one shot at a time fighter, very selective with his work. If you put a high pace on him, he's going to struggle. We saw that in the Dimitri Bivol fight. You know, he was giving Canelo a lot of different looks, constant 1-2s, constant jabs, and Canelo really struggled to keep up. And that wasn't even that high paced. So yeah, a guy like Benavidez who can force the issue on Canelo. If Canelo can't hurt Benavidez, I think he gets smoked. I really do. I think he gets outworked. He may be, yeah. He may be. Because he damaged his eye in that fight as well, let's not forget. He damaged his eye, so you might be right, but I think that's a good undercard fight. I don't think the undercard is bad for Canelo and Charlo. I think it's a decent undercard. I think Jesus Ramos versus Erickson Lubin. I think that's a good fight to see where Ramos is at. I think Ramos is a very talented fighter. 22 years old. He's big for the weight. He's got nice combinations. Southpaw, pressure fighter, good lead hand, good guard. I think he's a good fighter. I do. I think he'll beat Erickson Lubin, but Erickson Lubin, he's been around a while now. He's got experience. He does have skills. So it's a good test for Ramos. It's a good test for him. Do you know what the deal is with the WBC belt at Cruiser? Is it actually vacant? Yeah, so apparently Makabu is going to fight. He's going to fight the guy who fought Briadis and won and got robbed. I forget his name. Noel Givor. I think he's going to fight Givor for the vacant WBC, and I think Badu Jack is looking at going to Bridgerweight to fight Lucas Rozansky. I think that's what's going on there. Badu Jack's trying to fight Lucas Rozansky. That's what I think the plan is. Rozansky versus Badu Jack's not a bad fight, to be fair. He is, man. Yeah, he's had a... Listen, I've been aware of Zhili Zhang for a long, long time. Like when he signed with Top Rank. And in his early career, he looked really average. He looked slow, he looked cumbersome. Just looked very average, to be honest. And he was seen as a bit of a joke, but the last sort of 2 years, he's really, really come into his own. So fair play to Zhili Zhang. Hopefully he gets a big fight next. But who's going to fight him? He's talking about a Tyson Fury fight, but I don't see Tyson Fury fighting Zhili Zhang. He's mandatory for Usyk. Maybe that's the route he needs to go down. He's WBO Mando. But I think even then, Hrgovic is next in line for Usyk, so he would have to wait for that as well. He's in a weird position, Zhili Zhang, now, because does he do what Joe Joyce did and risk that spot and stay active? If I was managing Zhili Zhang, I would have him take lesser fights until that mandatory is called. 40 years old, I wouldn't risk losing that spot. Zhang versus Joshua makes sense. A repeat of their Olympic match. Yeah, why not? I'd love to see that fight. That's a great fight. But will Joshua take it? I doubt it right now. I doubt it. If he took that fight, I'll be very surprised. And very happy as well. Strip Tyson Fury of the belt and make Zhili Zhang versus Andy Ruiz in China for the WBC title. Yeah, man, why not? Why not, bro? I'm just bored of Tyson Fury. I wonder how Bellew would do now against Rozansky. I've always rated Zhang, but I didn't really expect him to beat Joyce. That was really impressive. Yeah, he left the heavyweight division on notice. Facts, yeah. Bellew right now, he'll probably lose to Lucas Rozansky, honestly. He'll probably lose. XMB, what's up, man? JD, what's up? Showtime Showtime likely closing boxing down next year. Where do you see the PBC going? DAZN, ESPN? Could be something completely different, like maybe Amazon Prime or maybe Amazon look into boxing. But, we've been speculating about this for a long time in regards to PBC and Showtime. I think the future of sports is streaming. Showtime have they kind of operate on a antiquated system. Ain't nobody want to watch boxing on cable TV now. When streaming first came in, there was a lot of pushback, but I'd rather everything be on streaming, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, as for Showtime boxing leaving, it's kind of sad. But like HBO, they really died years ago, man. They haven't been the same for a long time. Showtime, similar to HBO in their last few years. I think the writing's been on the wall for ages. You see some of the numbers for regular Showtime cards, and they are abysmal. Like in the the mid 100,000s. So like 150,000 for a card. That's poor viewing figures. And yeah, they've put on a couple of successful pay-per-views recently, like Garcia Tank, but it's not really enough, is it? It's not really enough. And even those big successful pay-per-views, you look at these payouts these fighters are getting, how much kickback are Showtime really getting? I don't know. Yeah, I could see Amazon maybe getting involved. I don't see the point for the zone to pick up more boxing. The reality is with the zone, especially in the UK, it doesn't matter whether DAZN get more boxing. DAZN need Premier League football. It's that simple. I keep on saying it. DAZN is not going to grow in the UK without other sports, mainly Premier League football. They could do with some rugby or cricket, that would help, but Premier League football is where it's at. Champions League football is where it's at. Even like football league games like the Championship, a few of those games would help DAZN out. But yeah, I don't think DAZN will try and poach these PBC guys or Al Heyman stable. I don't think they will. I don't think it's I don't think the benefits are there, to be honest, for DAZN to acquire more boxers. I just hope PBC don't show their fights on those fan sites, so they force their fighters to be sponsored by, if you know, OnlyFans, yeah. Yeah, I heard about that young girl getting stabbed in Croydon, 15 years old. And some fucking 17-year-old little fucking shitbag cunt. First and foremost, he makes advances to a 15-year-old. She rejects him, and then he stabs her. Bro, bring back the death penalty, man. Just string that fucking cunt up. Seriously, just string him up. Be done with it. Be done with it. There's certain things you can't come back from. Derek Chisora should fight Adam Kalnacki. Derek Chisora should fucking retire, man. But I would watch it. I can't lie. Yeah, I agree, Gerson. Totally agree. Probably too little, too late. That's what happens when fighters are overpaid. Yeah, it's supposed to be a big fight equals a big payday. Yeah, facts. I could see Canelo getting a late stoppage as well. It's never going to happen, Adair. That's the problem. It's never going to happen. Reese Cooper, what's up? Eddie and Matchroom run darts, which is a massive sport in the UK, and Hearn did a deal with Sky in 2021 to keep darts on Sky, and then signed with DAZN. Crazy move. Yes, weird. Weird, man. Because honestly, it feels like nobody talks about DAZN in the UK. Like nobody. People are more aware of what it is, but it's nowhere close to the level of like Sky Sports or even TNT Sports, which was BT Sports. Yeah, facts. Yeah, send that you to hell. I agree. World's gone mad, bro. Indeed. Indeed. Boxer and Wasserman should just join forces. I think I think boxing would be better if Boxer didn't exist. They are a terrible, terrible promotional outfit. Awful. Like their cards are so forgettable, like unbelievably forgettable. I can remember Khan Brook. Um, they had a recent like Smith Eubank 1 and 2, and Akole versus fucking Billum Smith. They're the only ones I can remember. And the only fight that's really intriguing me from them is Buatsi versus Aziz. That's a good fight. But yeah, Boxer are the worst promotional outfit in boxing. In terms of like big named promotional outfits, Boxer are by far the worst. Every single show is like got some PC nonsense attached to it. Female fights, this fight is a lesbian, this, that, and the third. Bruv, I'm not interested, man. That boxing promotional outfit is so fucking soy. So fucking terrible, man. Honestly, I'm not having it. I wonder what would happen if they tried forcing a Muslim fighter like Baturbiev to wear those damn OnlyFans sponsored shorts. He wouldn't wear them. It's up to the fighters what sponsors they take. You know, and anybody who's actually religious is not going to wear that shit. There's a lot of fighters now, though, and a lot of people in life now. It's become a grift to adopt religion to sell certain things or whatever it may be to get a new audience. But like Devin Haney, for example, didn't Devin Haney sell OnlyFans on his shorts? And you're telling me that guy's a Muslim? Wearing gold and shit? You can't wear gold as a Muslim, I didn't think. Right? Come on now. Same with Andre Ward, like being a Christian. That guy was the least Christian person I think you can see. It's mad. It's mad. But yeah, I've noticed that recently. I said this ages ago. That a lot of these political figures who now adopt religion, they're not religious at all. Yeah, yeah, exactly. What a terrible signing that was. Imagine fucking buying a Curly out of his contract to then fucking he produces those two fights. Awful. Yeah, crazy thing. Yeah, yeah, exactly. If he plays mental health, people will give him a pass. Yeah, I've seen cops in Ireland give those scumbags a pass because of it. Yeah, facts. Again, why is he fighting Jorge Linares? An absolutely embarrassing fight. Why is he fighting Linares? Piss poor, man. Piss poor. I heard at the press conference for Joyce Shalom. Sorry, I heard at the press conference for Joyce, Ben Shalom emailed a channel with less than 1,000 subs because he something Shalom found offensive. Yeah, that guy's a fucking weirdo, man. Send me an email, man. Fucking weird guy. Vacant stare, the American psycho of boxing. Absolute fucking. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. But yeah. His blank, vacant stare, like he's staring through the camera right at you. But you look into his eyes and there's nothing there. Just vacant. Vacant voids. That guy is a fucking psycho. That guy, there is something wrong with that guy, I'm sorry. That Ben Shalom, I wouldn't fucking trust him as far as I could throw him. Weird guy, man. Weird fucking guy. Honestly, like, Adam Smith got memed, like, as being, like, creepy Adam Smith. And I found it funny, right? I didn't think Adam Smith was as bad as a lot of people said. He came out with some terrible one-liners, we know. But I think Ben Shalom, I'm not even memeing, I'm not even joking. I think that guy is a legit fucking creep. Legit creep. Weird guy, man. Yeah, yeah. Devin Haney's doing what he has to do to try and build a fan base. I get it, but yeah. It'll never like it just it amazes me like that people take it serious and believe it. I think it's been a long time coming for Lipe. I think we've been speculating about this for a long time. Um, going the way of HBO. Ultimately, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Yeah, exactly. I agree, Reese. Yeah, Jordan Thompson is okay, but I expect Jai to win. Facts. Yeah, it's way too early for Thompson. Thompson is tall. He's rangy. He's raw. He's got a bit of power, but he's very green. And I'm not sold on his chin either. Can't bring my can't bring man back from the dead. It's a great question. What is next for Joe Joyce after that brutal loss to Zhang? Listen, I want to see him fight again. I think in certain fights he can make for really good fights. Would they do a rematch with Daniel Dubois? I wouldn't argue with it, for example. Ajit Kabayel, European champion, I believe. That's a good fight for him. There's fights he can take. There's fights he can take. I wouldn't say Joe Joyce has to retire. There's still some fun fights, in my opinion. Still some fun fights. Yeah, all of those guys need to retire, but at least Carlos Takam still gives it a go, I have to admit. And he started late as well, so maybe Takam less so, but Chisora definitely, Char, yes, Dave Allen, yes. Dave Allen should have retired about 5 years ago. Big up, Stiga, what's up? Chris Billum Smith versus Opataya. I think Opataya completely outboxes him. I live 1 hour from Progray's hometown, and no one knows who he is here or there. How this is a pay-per-view is beyond me. Yeah, bro. Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis on pay-per-view. It's a decent fight. It's a decent fight, but pay-per-view? Crazy. Crazy. I don't think he has many amateur fights. I don't think. I may be wrong, though. No surprise, Showtime Boxing might be discontinued. Plus, they deliver boring and terrible fights. Yeah. The only fights worth watching on Showtime these days are on pay-per-view. Occasionally, they'll put on a good card, like when somebody like Matias headlines, but nobody knows who he is, unfortunately. If any public figure took religion seriously, they would stay away from fame, clearly trying to pander for money or clout. Yeah. Yeah. But a lot of political figures use religion as like a selling point. I wouldn't be surprised, bro, if they do Dave Allen versus Atalma. And yeah, Atalma would just box rings around him. Yeah, I saw that interview. Yeah, Dana White was kind of happy that what's his name? Espinoza was no longer in boxing. I can't lie, I have been paying a bit more attention to UFC recently. I can't lie. I'm looking forward to Khamzat versus Paulo Costa. That'll be a good fight. Islam versus Oliveira too is a solid fight. I think it may be a bit more competitive than first time around. There's a few good fights coming up in MMA. Yeah, so Matias versus Ergashev. It's a hardcore fight. It's a great fight, but nobody knows who those guys are. Yeah, basically, yeah, it's like a boxing after dark main event. Not that it's a bad fight, but it's just that nobody knows who those guys are. I think that's a great fight. I really do. But yeah, nobody knows who they are. So I'd say, yeah, it's like a boxing after dark fight. Torres is definitely a fun fighter. He's got power, he's got speed, he's aggressive. Takes a lot of risks though, and it's very early in his career. What I will say though, if that guy can build up a record and beat some notable guys, his fan base is going to be huge. Hispanic background, he's got a unique look, he's got a good style, he can be advertised. If Torres wins more fights, beats a couple of contenders, builds a good record, that guy is going to get fans, I'm telling you. If you're a promoter and you can't push that guy out of there, you should probably retire, honestly. Yeah, exactly, Edmund. Ben Shalom's a clown, though. Yeah, Espinoza. He'll get some other cushy job somewhere, no doubt. Hopefully not in boxing, though. Hot take: Zhili Zhang knocks out Fury. Let's see it. Oh, Alex Pereira versus Jiri Prochazka. Jiri had that terrible shoulder injury. Pre that, I'm taking Jiri to win, but right now I'd be very uncertain just because of that shoulder injury and coming back from it. Also, by the way, Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards. I think that's a good fight. Because Leon Edwards has underrated takedown defense. Very underrated takedown defense, and he's a master of the distance. Plus, Colby's 35 now, been out of a ring for a while. It's a good fight, though, because Colby does have a style that can trouble Leon with the wrestling. But in a stand-up fight, I think Leon would piece Colby up. It's a good fight, though. Yeah. Yeah, Showtime is merging as well, so it's not going to be a thing anymore after December 2023. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a shame Showtime ended the way it did. I'm not sure whether he gets stopped or not, Crazy D3. I've not decided that yet, but I think he'll lose regardless. That's a great point. I've often wondered this. Would it work for the West, US and UK, to have boxing fights on at the end of the year, similar to how Japan does it? I don't see why not. Because there's a lack of sport on at that time of year anyway. And everyone's at home. It's not that there's a lack of sport. There's like Premier League football, but everyone's at home. Why not? Why not put a card on last weekend of the year? Why not? Why not? I'm sure it would do good numbers. The only thing you can't do is a pay-per-view because Christmas has just gone. People are skint. So, but yeah, like a regular good card, not non-pay-per-view, I think it would work. End of year, like last weekend of the year type of thing. Yeah, I think Eubank beats Ben as well. If he's not drained, I'll put that caveat in. If Eubank isn't drained, he beats Conor Benn. I still haven't seen that Conor Benn fight, by the way. And I probably won't watch it. I've seen a couple of highlights. Yeah. Tell me about it, man. There's been a lot of upsets this year as well in the UFC. Kamaru is a better wrestler than Colby, and Leon beat him twice. Why is he still the underdog against Colby, who hardly fights himself? Yeah. Maybe they're looking at the first fight where Kamaru did have success against Leon with the wrestling until he got knocked out. But Colby, one thing about Colby, I think Colby's a weird fighter because some people just can't stand him because of his persona. And that clouds their judgment on him as a fighter. But his fanboys do tend to overrate him. One thing about Colby, he's not really beat anybody of consequence. When I say that, yes, he's got wins over ranked guys, but a lot of these guys were past their best. We're talking about guys like Robbie Lawler, Tyron Woodley. These guys were past it when Colby beat them. So yeah, Colby's resume is a bit of a weird one. I don't think his resume is that great. I don't think he's beaten a guy in their prime who's like of a real level. But I think he's a good wrestler. He's got great cardio. He's durable, tough guy. I think he can beat Leon. I think he can beat Leon. But Leon is strong though because he defended the takedowns well against Kamaru in the second fight, and even at times in the first fight, or sorry, the second. Yeah, they fought 3 times. But yeah, he did. I mean, Leon's strong, and he's got good takedown defense. So it's how long Leon stays on his feet. It's a good fight though. See, that's a weird fight as well because I do like both guys. I like Leon Edwards. I like his rise. He kind of did it the quiet way. But I like Colby. I'd like both guys to win for different reasons. I'd like Leon to win because I just like his style. But I'd like Colby to win because I'd like to see how triggered people get. It's one of those ones. So yeah, I don't really have a dog in that race, tell you the truth. Yeah, ONE FC's making a lot of noise recently, yeah. It's a good question. Are the Saudis hurting boxing by promising big money for fights that don't happen, like Joshua Wilder? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I don't think so. They're just offering the biggest site fees right now, right? Um, I don't think they're hurting boxing. No more than Vegas did when Vegas became like the mecca of boxing. It wasn't because Vegas made sense from a logistical point of view. Vegas were just paying the most money for these fights. The casinos were, right? But yeah, man, it is what it is. I never saw that fight either. Hitchens versus Zapata. I never saw it. Yeah, I think Colby's a more skilled wrestler, but Usman is a stronger one. I'd agree with that. Yes, Usman is more. Yeah, Usman is stronger. I would say. Yeah, Usman is stronger. Colby's got a good chin though. Colby's got a good chin. I know he got stopped by Usman in the first fight, but that was a broken jaw. Oh yeah, he is a juice freak, bro. Kamaru Usman is fucking juiced out of his mind. Good fighter though. Good fighter. Yeah, exactly. Colby more overwhelmed. Yeah, he overwhelms you with work rate. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. He's got that grinding style. I'll be honest though, I'm not a big fan of like. So wrestling's a weird one in the UFC because it has evolved. I'm not a big fan of that like American style wrestling because I find it too passive. I find it a little too lay and like it's just yeah. I don't particularly like that American style of wrestling. I like the Soviet style. Is it combat samba, whatever it's called? It just looks more aggressive. Like when Khabib wrestled, when he grappled with a guy and took him down, it was like you could see the life draining out of them, like a boa constrictor just slowly killing its prey. It was more aggressive. So when I say I don't like wrestling, I don't like the American style of wrestling. I like the Eastern European style more because it's more aggressive. Yeah, Sambo, right? Yeah, Sambo. It's just more aggressive. That's what it looks like to me anyway. I think it's over for Izzy. Guy was outclassed in his last 3. Sorry, 1 and 2 in his last 3, and it's likely he won't get a rematch and has to face Boers if he beats Costa. Yeah. And Izzy's 35 now, I think. People forget that. He's not a young guy anymore. He's not a young guy. Plus, he had a kickboxing career before that. You know, he's had a long career. And yeah, he got schooled by Sean Strickland. He got schooled. But yeah, I'd rather not see. Honestly, I'd rather not see Izzy get a rematch. He had a rematch against Pereira, which I felt he deserved considering his long reign. But now he's lost again. I don't think he should get another rematch, to be honest. I think he deserved the first rematch against Pereira. But no, not anymore. You lost right after that fight, so come on. Yeah, Sambo style is better. Yeah, I think he's just made his money, is he? He's probably not. He's probably got a couple fights left and that's it. Yeah, Khabib was a gangster, I can't lie. I liked Khabib as well. I liked Khabib. Horrible style, though. I couldn't imagine. It's like being totally helpless when that guy's got a hold of you. But I like Kamzat Chimaev. He's got a good fight coming up as well. He's fighting Brazilian dude, Paulo Costa. That's a good fight. Paulo Costa's takedown defense is okay. He's a big guy for the weight as well. Strong guy. That's an interesting fight. I think Kamzat beats him, but listen, Kamzat, we'll see. We'll see how he looks at middleweight. Yeah, he's a weird dude, man. Maybe he's been punched in the head too many times. Not really, bro. Not really. I think Joyce can come back and have certainly some fan-friendly fights. Whether he can get himself back in a position to fight for a title, it's probably too late, maybe. But, you know, there's guys out there who I think he can very easily beat and get ranking points. A guy like Caballel, for example, who's unbeaten, European champion. Caballel, why not? I think even now he'd beat Hrgovic. There's fights out there for him. Maybe Frank could try and make a Dubois rematch. Why not? But there's definitely fights out there for him. There's definitely fights out there for him. And yeah, I'd rather not see him retire. Yeah, bro, those fucking guys who paint their nails, man, I can't. I'll be real. He's a weird dude, man. He's a weird dude. Give me Anderson Silva. Give me GSP. Give me Khabib. Tank versus Inoue, that's never going to happen. But Tank would be too big. If it's at 135, he'd be too big. Yeah, Zhang seems to be, yeah, man. He seems to be getting better. He looks quicker now than he looked when he was 35. It's crazy. But now Zili Zhang is doing well. Doing well. Hopefully he gets his shot, whoever it's against. He's a dangerous proposition, man. Yeah, I mean, listen, if Inoue took that fight, fair play. Fair play. But if I'm Inoue, man, listen, I wouldn't give up any concessions. He's built himself in Japan. He's a mega star. You know, going on the verge of becoming two-time undisputed. He doesn't need to give up advantages to Tank Davis, a guy who's done next to nothing in boxing. 28 years old, his best wins are a green Ryan Garcia, a non-champion Ryan Garcia, and Jose Pedraza, and a blown-up Leo Santa Cruz. Yeah. These foreign fighters, when I say foreign, I mean non-Western, they need to stop giving away so many concessions. They really do, in my opinion, but yeah, it's silly, man. Yeah, it's silly. It's silly. And yeah, exactly. The type of money Tank would ask for would force the fight to be in Japan. There's probably more money in Japan anyway, yeah, exactly. There's more money in Japan. Again, I'm taking Loma. If it's at 135, I'm taking Loma. I think honestly, the fight I'd love to see just stylistically, would be Inoue versus Navarrete. I think that'll be a great fight. But yeah, right now, I mean, Inoue is at super bantam, so it's 122. Yeah, let's see. I want to see Inoue beat Tapales, become undisputed again, and go from there. He's still talking about fighting John Rio Casemiro as well. I don't mind that fight. Just pick up wins, become undisputed, get a couple more wins at super bantam, then try your luck at featherweight. Maybe a Rebese Ramirez. Yeah, exactly. Ramirez. Inoue versus Ramirez is a great fight. Ramirez can box, man. He's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. Very well schooled, good mover. He can mix things up. A good southpaw as well. Good fighter, man. Yeah, I'd like to see that fight. Navarrete versus Valdez was like a good one-sided fight. Valdez kept it interesting, landing good single shots, but he was totally outworked in that fight. Totally outworked. I'd say Terence Crawford's walk-around weight is about 180. Just a guess. I'd say about 180. He's not a small guy. He's not a small guy. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he got his face bust up. He took a lot of punishment in that fight. Navarrete's a weird fighter, man. You look at him, man. He does a lot wrong, but I don't know, man. He makes it work for himself. He's very unorthodox, but low key quite athletic. Deceptively long arms. I've noticed that fighters have a hard time gauging the distance against him. They feel they're out of range, but he'll come in with those long ass arms and hit him from a weird fucking angle. He's just a strange fighter. Strange style. A style of his own, to be honest. A style of his own. But I think he's a good fighter, Navarrete. I still think people are underestimating him. I do. I think he's a good fighter. See, that's for one. At super featherweight, Navarrete versus Joe Cordina. Cordina's the harder one-punch guy, the more precise fighter, kind of merges from boxer to boxer-puncher to counter-puncher. And we know Navarrete. That's a great fight. But for Cordina to win that fight, he has to be able to hurt Navarrete. If he can't hurt Navarrete, I don't think he can beat him on points. It's a great fight, though. That's a great fight. That's a great fight. But I don't think Eddie's going to want to touch it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'd have to watch it back. To me, it looked like he got up at 9.5. I don't think he wanted to continue, to tell you the truth. I thought about making betting videos for a while, man, but honestly, I wouldn't want to lose people money, to tell you the truth. Because if I market it, if I title videos as betting tips or this, that, and the third, there's going to be somebody out there who may follow it, and maybe I lose them money. I probably won't, actually. I like looking at those sort of things. Even when I don't bet, I do kind of like looking at the odds for some reason. But yeah, we'll see. I don't mind Cordina. I like Cordina. Cordina's one of my favourite British fighters right now. Because I'm harsh on UK fighters. But I like Cordina. Gassiev versus Briedis. Yeah, this weekend in Turkey, believe it or not. Good fight. I've been going back and forth on it, but I'm going to stick with Gassiev, I think. I'm going to stick with Gassiev. But, Valin's got the work rate to outpoint Gassiev in many rounds. Gassiev is too it's too economic at times. And in those rounds, you would imagine Varlin is going to pick up the points. I just believe, I believe Gassiev has the power to make the difference, even against Varlin. Yeah. It's a great question. I don't think that Gassiev fight is on any mainstream TV networks in the West. I don't think so. It's just a weird location. It's a really weird location in Turkey. In Turkey. Yeah, I'm trying to find what channel it's going to be on. I can't find it anywhere. And yeah, Gassiev is favourite by looks of it. Gassiev is favourite. Yeah, we'll see about Ben Whittaker. Very early in his career. Yeah, outside the ring, he seems like a funny guy, but yeah, I don't like the. I like showboating, but I like showboating when it matters. Ben Whittaker showboats against fucking 2-10 journeyman. That's what I don't like. If you're showboating in world title fights, cool, love it. But yeah, not in those sort of fights. Yeah, Turkey could be an interesting boxing market, especially if they get a top fighter or two. Yeah, because those guys will come out to support, no doubt. The Turks get behind their own. They really do. The Turks get behind their own. I've not seen the face-off, but more than likely, bro, knowing Sonny Edwards, he's probably wearing platform shoes like a fucking dork, honestly. I'll look at it, though. I'll take a look at it. Regardless, I think he'll get smoked, honestly. I think he gets smoked. I'm hoping so, at least. Adelaide or Wardley. I've actually got a weird feel. I've got a weird feeling Adelaide wins. Big up Max Kuckerman, man. Big up. That name always cracks me up. That's hard to say, man. I've never seen Beterbiev at cruiserweight as a pro. I'd say Briedis. And I like, I like Beterbiev, but yeah, showboating in title fights is fine. Yeah. Yeah, don't do it. It's when they're fighting like journeymans on the way up kind of thing, like guys with losing records. That's when it becomes corny to me. That's when it becomes corny to me. If it's a fight with a lot on the line, showboat, I think it makes for a great spectacle, cool. But yeah, not in these fights that don't matter against guys who are so overmatched. That's when it becomes silly and a bit corny, to be honest. When is that Sonny Edwards fight? Is it in December? I think it's in December, isn't it? What is Sonny? I'm watching this face off now, and Sonny Edwards just gets on my fucking nerves. Looks like he's had a stroke. Weird fucking guy, man. He's going to get his ass whooped, and I can't wait. Fucking idiot. I can't stand that guy. They set the Bam versus Sonny fight in December because Bam needs time to make weight. He loves to eat. Yeah, he definitely puts weight on outside of camp, no doubt. No doubt, yeah. He's not like he doesn't seem the greatest outside the gym, honestly. And that could be a problem down the line, but we'll see. We'll see if it's a problem in this fight. What weight? This is flyweight, right? Yeah, it's flyweight. Yeah, he's fighting on the card this weekend, Frank Sanchez, but he's fighting Scott Alexander. I think with Frank Sanchez, the issue is nobody's going to fight him because he's risky and nobody knows who he is. So if you're promoting Frank Sanchez, you have to overpay his opponents if you want anybody decent. Great point. Great point. Yep, Varlin versus Gassiev is the type of fight Box Nation would pick up at the last minute. There's no reason as to why DAZN should not be picking this up. Facts. Yeah, exactly. Because they can pick it up for next to nothing, let's be honest. Exactly. Sonny Edwards looks to have some rodent DNA, yeah, and he acts like a rodent as well. I don't like that guy at all. There's something about that guy I just dislike intently. Yeah, Frank showed his hand too much against Ajagba, yeah. Yeah. And I never had an issue with that performance. A lot of people said it was boring, but he did what he had to do. Like, I felt he boxed pretty well. Weirdly, so usually I really dislike that sort of style. But at heavyweight, I don't mind it quite as much for some random ass reason. Because I don't really see it much. But yeah. But when he actually plants his feet into the canvas, Frank Sanchez can generate a bit of power. It's not like he's pillow fisted. He just doesn't commit that much. Yeah, I mean, Kozabutsky took it into his own hands and got disqualified. Like Ajagba started the fouling, then Kozabutsky responded, and yeah, he got DQ'd. Yeah, Sonny could be fresh out of a shower and still look dirty. Yeah, just that sort of guy. Is Frank Sanchez Luis Ortiz's granddad? Speaking of that, why don't they fight? Get Luis Ortiz's old ass back in the ring. Bro, I saw the fucking latest ring ranking. Sorry, yeah, the ring heavyweight rankings, Ring Magazine. And they have Luis Ortiz at like number 7 or 8. Like, how? The guy's 44 years old, hasn't fought in a year, lost his last fight. It's insane. Insane. Absolutely insane. Well, Billy Joe's been talking about coming back for a while. He's been talking about coming back for a while. But he's talking about coming back at light heavyweight. Who's there to have it? Who's there to fight? Who can Billy Joe fight at light heavyweight? He's going to get smoked. He could come back and have a domestic fight, maybe against John Ryder, Chris Eubank Jr. Maybe those fights could make sense. But aside from that, I'm struggling. I happen to agree. I think he'll top out. I don't think he'll become a champion or anything like that. But he's one of those guys where if you're not at a certain level, he will expose you, like Ajagba, for example. Saunders versus Joe Smith, I would watch it because I think Billy gets fucking ironed out. I'd watch it. They're talking, yeah, Joe Smith is fighting soon, actually. He's fighting Zerdo at cruiserweight, I believe. Yeah, back in the day, people were really hyping up Olania Solis. He was this big fat Cuban heavyweight, and a lot of people were hyping him up. Exactly, Reese. Yeah, Billy Joe wanting to come back at light heavyweight says it all. Yeah, facts. He should just retire. All he's really doing is trying to fleece one more payday. That's all he's doing. What's up, Marcy? How you doing, bro? Billy Joe pissed his career away a long time ago, man. And now he's just trying to con one last payday based on his name value. That's what he's trying to do. But I've got no interest really in seeing Billy Joe fight again. I don't think Billy Joe beats anybody, to tell you the truth. I don't think he beats anybody anymore. I think he'd lose to Chris Eubank Jr. in a rematch. I'm deadly serious. Been out for too long. What's up, Larry? I hope Prograis wins, but you know, boxing's one of those sports, right? You're only as good as your last fight, and Prograis looked pretty poor in his last fight. Looked very ordinary. Um, you know, so it's hard to judge. Like, if it was Prograis from the fight before against Zepeda, I'd be much more excited for this fight. Was that Zarila fight because Prograis is slipping, or was it just an off night? Was it an off night? I don't know. Plus, let's be real, Zarila was running. He was running. Yeah, exactly. Billy's going to try and pick up another paycheck and go home to the trailer park. Facts. See, even Boatsi, I'm taking Boatsi over Billy Joe. Not that I rate Boatsi as like some kind of wonderful boxer, but he's training. You know, he's an active boxer. He's bigger, he's stronger, hits harder. He'd beat Billy Joe. He's not as talented as Billy Joe, but he'd beat Billy Joe. Too big, too strong. Prograis is looking quick and sharp in the gym. Listen, I hope we get Prograis at his best. If it's Prograis at his best, bro, he can clip Haney. I think Haney's got, I don't know. I think there's a reason when you fight like a beta. There's a reason for that. Especially against like smaller men. When you resort to holding and run and like backpedaling all the time, there's a reason for that. I think Moses Atauma's a good fighter. I think he's had a lot of criticism. A good talent, I should say. I think he's a good talent. 18 years old. He's very fluid. He's light on his feet. He throws combinations. He mixes it up head to body. But he is 18 years old, right? So it's hard to judge. Plus, he's a heavyweight, so it's even harder to judge. But I think there's talent there with Moses Itauma. I think he's got his head screwed on right. Seems very sensible for a man of his age. I just think they need to take their time with him. Get him durable, experienced journeyman. Get him rounds. Have him fight actively. And see where he's at in 2 or 3 years' time. See, I thought Prograis won it, but that's just my opinion. That's cold, man. That's cold. Yeah, Haney's wife has dropped more boxers than he has. Boring, in my opinion. And the OnlyFans shorts with the Muslim grift annoys me. Want to see him lose. Talented, though. Yeah, I agree with all that. Yeah, Moses, when he said he wants to beat Tyson's record, upset the Tyson fans, hence the criticism. Yeah. Yeah. But I like him. He seems ambitious, which is good, but I don't see him as like delusional or anything like that. I liked that he was very critical of himself for his 2 previous fights, the 2 fights that went the distance. Very critical of himself, which I like. Okay, so he watches, man, he watches. It's a good thing that it's a good thing Moses Itauma has a fun style because the guy is dry as fuck. Base the Kid did an interview with him, and Base was doing all the work. Yeah, man. But listen, if that's how Moses Itauma is, then fair play to him. If you said to somebody that guy's 18, you would never believe him, honestly. Yeah, shout out to G-Man every time. mean, fuck's sake. Listen, I think it's a good fight. I think it's an interesting fight. Haney versus Prograis. It's just weird that fight being on pay per view. Really strange. I don't think that helps anybody. It doesn't help. Like, if they're trying to push Devin Haney as a star, putting that sort of fight on pay per view behind a paywall doesn't help him. You're supposed to generate a fan base off pay per view first and then go to pay per view. Devin Haney doesn't really have a fan base. Let's be honest about it. Every time the guy's headlined, aside from like the Lomachenko fight, the guy never sells out. I mean, why not, right? I mean, he was 38 years old. He lost his ranking shot to Zhang. Why not go in there again? Why not? Roll the dice. It backfired, but that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Yeah, he'll need a knockout. He'll need a knockout. And I certainly think he's got the power to hurt Devin Haney. We saw Linares hurt Haney. Even Jojo Diaz, he never hurt Haney, but there were times when, like, he made Devin take note. And Jojo's not a puncher; he's not even a lightweight, if we're being honest. Lomachenko buzzed him a couple of times. Prograis definitely has the power to badly hurt Haney. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Yeah, honestly, I can't see it hitting 100,000, Max. I can't see it hitting 100,000. Yeah, if I'm managing Moses Italma, I just have him fight durable journeyman for like the next 12 months. 6 rounders, have him fight those sort of guys. Very regular. If he's like looking crazy good, then yeah, maybe slight step ups, but there's no rush with this guy. But they're kind of marketing like they're using that, youngest champion thing, trying to beat Mike Tyson's record. I don't think that's good for a fighter's development, unless Moses Italma is like a once in a generation type of fighter. I don't think that's going to be good for his development to have that sort of pressure on him. Take your time. Take your time. I don't think anybody who's reasonable would expect an 18-year-old heavyweight to be stepped up straight away. Yeah, I think he's above Johnny Fisher, yeah. That's a good shout. Presuming Yoka's not retired, to me that's Joyce's obvious next step. There's already a storyline, and Yoka got no heart or gears, so a decent comeback fight before a big fight afterwards. Yeah, that makes sense. It's basically a loser leaves town fight as well, because the winner can maybe rebuild, obviously, after their setbacks, and the loser is basically done. It's a good fight, and like you said, they've got history as well. Makes sense. That's actually a perfect comeback fight. That's actually a perfect comeback fight, would be Tony Yoka. Yeah, I always think Fraser Clark comes across as a nice guy. I think he's a good pundit, but watching him fight is tedious. I don't like watching that guy fight at all. Yeah, I certainly think Moses Atalma has the highest ceiling out of all those guys. So easily. He may not want to take that risk, but like, it's a fast track back, right? Maybe that's more attractive than having a slow comeback and having all these tune-up fights. That's going to take a couple of years. I got some cigarettes. for 4 quid from a dodgy newsagent, and the guy who served me looked like Beterbiev's twin. Igor Mekenstev, yeah, people forget about him. He won gold at London 2012, and he was actually quite highly regarded when he first turned pro. He turned pro under Top Rank, I think. He drew a fight to Alexander Johnson, who was like a journeyman at the time, like a gatekeeper. The same Johnson who Beterbiev starched. He just never really translated to the pro style for some reason. He never really translated like Beterbiev did, because Mekonstev was like the top light heavyweight in Russia in the amateurs at the time. And yeah, there was definitely high hopes for him, but never worked out. Yeah, Igor Mekonstev, yeah. I'm impressed you actually remember that guy. But yeah, I think I'm assuming he retired, bro. I'm assuming he retired because I remember him fighting Alexander Johnson and he drew. And I also remember one of his earlier fights. I think he got dropped as well. So yeah, he wasn't a hiding to nothing, honestly. But a very good amateur, very good amateur. AJ versus Zhang, I would have to think about it. But given the way AJ's looking right now, Zhang might knock him out, honestly. Yeah, that'd be a great fight, but yeah, no chance of it happening. What happened to Nikita, the Russian? Nikita the Russian? Do you mean you don't mean fucking Nikita Ababi, whatever his name was? That guy sucked. If it's that guy. I'm not sure who you're referring to, Gene. Majidov, oh, he's done. He got injured in his last fight. I think he ruined his knee. Why does the UK not like James DeGale? I thought he would beat Ward. Yeah, James DeGale's career, man. When James DeGale turned pro, he got a lot of hype or a lot of media attention. He lost to George Groves in a really close fight and basically went into the wilderness for a long time until years later he won the world title. I actually quite enjoyed James DeGale's title reign. You know, the Durrell fight was good, the Butte fight was good, the Porky Medina fight was good, the Badu Jack fight was great, although I felt he lost that fight. He had a fun title reign. I've always liked James DeGale. I've always liked James DeGale. I want to say that guy's name was John Joe Nevin or something Nevin. I want to say his name was John Joe Nevin, maybe. Testing my boxing knowledge, bro. You're testing my boxing knowledge. I want to say John Joe Nevin. He won he was the Olympian. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, it was Nevin, yeah? Okay. Does Sonny Edwards beat Savannah Marshall? Zhang Wilder, bro. Zhang Wilder would be an amazing fight. Imagine that fight in China. That'd be amazing. Yeah, he broke his ankle in his only loss. That's how he lost the fight. That was like his second pro fight, or maybe maybe even his first. Was it his first fight? It was his first fight, against Mark Delgado, and he lost that fight because he broke his ankle or dislocated his knee or something. Since then, he's come back and he beat the guy who actually won that fight, Mark Delgado. He beat him in a rematch. Yeah, he's now like a 9-1, but I've only seen a little bit of him. And when it comes to these Irish fighters, they tend to do very well in the amateurs, but for some reason, these guys just can't translate to the pros. It's strange. It's strange. I don't know what it is. No, no, I swear to God, a lot of people were comparing Fowler's style to Carl Froch when he turned pro. A lot of people were comparing Fowler to Froch. Fowler just didn't have that type of chin, though, man. He never had that sort of chin. Zhang v Wilder would be so fun, honestly. So, bro, Zhang versus anybody right now is fun. I don't think it matters, does it, guys? Whoever Zhang fights, you'll take anything, right? Zhang v Wilder, Zhang v AJ, Zhang v Fury, Zhang v Usyk. All these fights are great. Yeah, Josh Kelly. Yeah, Josh Kelly's still about. Josh Kelly's still about. He's at 154 now. I want to say Josh Kelly's like the IBO champion at 154. Yeah, it's a great fight, man. Because you can see a way that Wilder finds a home for his straight right hand, but at, you can see the same for Zhili Zhang. It's a great fight. That may be who lands first. That may be who lands first. It's a great fight. Can Zhang take the power? We have seen Zhang hurt against Jerry Forrest, and also really early in his career against Wan Good, a journeyman. So I think both guys can knock out each other. To tell you the truth, it may just come down to who's more confident on the night to throw first, to pull the trigger first. That's a great fight though. Never going to happen, but it's a great fight. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, southpaw, huge power. A bit like Jalalov. He's another one that's going to be risky just because of that. IBO's like the hot girl's fat friend. Yeah, it is basically like a participation trophy belt. Because very rarely is the IBO held by elite fighters. Golovkin held it. Vladimir Klitschko held it. What other elite fighters have held the IBO? I'm blanking. I'm blanking. Did Mayweather hold it? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think Mayweather did hold the IBO. I'm gonna have a look. I don't think he did. Or did Manny Pacquiao hold it? Yeah, no. Mayweather did win the IBO. He won the IBO against Zab Judah with the IBF. Bro, Frank Sanchez versus Zhili Zhang, I'd like to see. No, I don't think he could, bro. Could Akole clinch up Wilder for a good few rounds as Wilder's a small heavyweight in terms of weight? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. WBA regular is worse than VIBO, to be honest. Yeah, that was peak. That was peak for Eubank. Yeah, Eubank won VIBO as well. Yeah, and he was, bro. That picture of Eubank in the club, like with the IBO title, it was so tragic, man. He was flexing that title like it was real, and he was doing it with a straight face. I almost respect it, honestly. I almost respect it. Oh yeah, if Wilder versus Akole happens, I become the biggest Wilder fan for that one fight. Fuck Lawrence Akole, man. Honestly, I just don't think he'll get close enough to clinch, bro. I think Wilder knocks him out. What's up, Johnny? How you doing, man? But yeah, if Akole fought fucking Wilder, bro, I'd be supporting Wilder. That's fucking there's a time for everything. Yeah, send Akole back to McDonald's. I'd have it written in the contract. If you lose, you have to retire and do a 12-month stint in McDonald's. Like as annoying as Wilder is, listen, I'm supporting him over fucking Akole. I reckon Charlo's going to lay down Johnny. Not lay down, but I don't know, man. I just don't trust Canelo fights, bro. I don't trust Canelo fights. Like how, bro? Like nobody was asking for this fight until it happened. Like nobody was saying Jamel Charlo for Canelo. Coming up 2 weight classes, I don't think he's gonna. I'm not convinced he can carry the weight without gassing, because he's never had that weight on fight night, carrying the extra muscle. And he's like quite explosive. He generates a lot of power in his shots. He loads up quite a lot. I think after like 5 or 6 rounds, Charlo's going to be gassed. You know what I'm saying? I think honestly, I think Canelo is getting close to being cashed out because he's clearly on the decline, in my opinion. I think he's close to getting cashed out, but I just don't think it's going to be against Jamel Charlo. It doesn't make sense. It would make sense against a guy like Benavidez, but I don't think he's getting cashed out yet. It's a free fight deal. I think Charlo will be a good boy. And yeah, I'm not looking forward to it at all. Maybe I'll be surprised. Maybe I'll be surprised. I've got like fucking 4 lighters on my desk and none of them work. There you go. Yeah, it'll be nice, bro, if Charlo could upset the apple cart. Honestly, it'd be nice. And yeah, Charlo's in a no-lose situation, right? He's a big underdog. He's expected to lose, coming up 2 weight classes. He's got a free shot at undisputed, big payday. Listen, even if he loses, but loses well, he's not really lost. So I'm expecting Charlo to go in there and give everything, take risks, give everything. That's what I want from Charlo. I just don't bet on Canelo fights, bro. I rarely bet on fights these days anyway. But I wouldn't bet on a Canelo fight. Yeah, there's that as well, bro. This is what I was saying in my preview video. Like a lot of people after Charlo became undisputed were like crying, saying that Charlo should be top 10 pound for pound. That's not how pound for pound works. Charlo at super welterweight had a size advantage over a lot of guys, and he utilized it. Fair enough, and he got some good wins. Cool, but Charlo's run at 54 wasn't conducive of a pound for pound fighter. A pound for pound fighter doesn't lose to Tony Harrison. A pound for pound fighter doesn't lose to a guy who's 20 pounds smaller than him in Brian Castano. Jermell Charlo is a good fighter. Nothing more, nothing less. He's not a pound for pound fighter. And for that sort of guy to go up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo, I just don't see him winning, bro. Even if like the fight is legit, I don't see him beating Canelo. Charlo just people are confusing accolades with pound for pound. And yes, he became undisputed, but he never like dominated the division. I'll trade you Plant for Eubank. I'd rather keep Eubank, to be honest. I'd rather watch Eubank fight. I can't stand Plant. Yeah, exactly, Johnny. What Jermell Charlo is, he's a good fighter. He's a damn solid fighter, but he's not pound for pound. If we're putting guys like Charlo in the pound for pound list, we're in trouble as a boxing community, because that means the standard has dropped so low. I said the same with Spence, yep. I said the same with Josh Taylor. Putting Josh Taylor pound for pound was crazy. Again, a guy with a massive size advantage. Good fighter, like Charlo. Good fighter, but nothing more than that. Not like this elite level pound for pound talent. In my opinion. I said that with Taylor. We see how that panned out. I said that with Spence. We've seen how that's panned out. And we've seen how it's panned out with Charlo. But apparently, if we don't put these sort of guys as pound for pound, we're haters. Just because you've become undisputed, it doesn't mean you're pound for pound. Like Devin Haney's another one. You're pound for pound for scraping by a guy who was past his best and 20 pounds smaller than you. Is that what pound for pound is now? And most people felt you lost anyway. That's pound for pound. If that's the standard, bro, boxing needs to raise the fucking standards. I forget where I said it. I was watching a stream. It may have been BDA. I forget where it was, but I honestly don't think. I don't think there are 10 true pound for pound level fighters in boxing right now. We always say top 10 pound for pound, top 10 pound for pound. I don't think there's 10 true pound for pound level fighters in boxing right now. I don't think there's 10. Hence why we're putting guys like fucking Jermell Charlo, Josh Taylor, Devin Haney on pound for pound lists. Because those guys don't belong in a pound for pound list. I'm sorry. They don't belong on it. Bro, listen, I know people like showbiz, man, but I think that guy is just an industry shill. I'll be real. My man's out here having mixed fucking pound for pound lists. Get out of here, man. Just, I've got to be honest. I've got to be honest. Seems like a nice guy, but listen, it just seems like he's pushing certain agendas, but it is what it is. And you've heard that here first as well. I said this a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. You're going to start to see mainstream publications like ESPN, like The Ring, etc. These guys are going to start making combined pound for pound lists, males and females. I'm telling you now. Trap house boxing? No. That's a great point as well. Why do we say top 10 and not top 15, considering an alphabet champion can fight anyone rated in their top 15? And not even that, bro. A fight can be announced. So, for example, Tyson Fury could fight somebody who's not ranked right now in the WBC. And automatically, the next month, that guy is then ranked. We've seen that happen before as well. I don't know who Champ Side is either. Don't know who that is. Don't know. Mario Lopez, I know who he is. I've never listened to his podcast. Mario Lopez to me is just too much of like a clean cut guy, TV guy. I'm not interested, honestly. If I'm listening to podcasts on boxing, I'd rather listen to fan podcasts, not some official podcast with journos and presenters. I'd rather not listen to them. Okay, so he does a podcast with Steve Kim. Okay, cool. I don't mind Steve Kim. Steve Kim's all right. There's things I disagree with him on. There's things I agree with him on. We all know what female boxing is about. It's about pushing a PC agenda. There's no real appetite for it. Let's be honest about it. There's none. One or two fights get some traction, cool, but overall, people could care less about female boxing if we're just being honest. But as the years go on, I think the psyop will generate more interest because men these days testosterone devoid fucking dorks. So more than likely, people will start to get on board with it. I already see it now, right, with certain channels, who have been on here a long time. A few years ago, they were saying they wanted no part of female boxing. Now, all of a sudden, they're covering it. It's weird, isn't it? It dilutes the quality of cards. It breaks up the momentum of cards. Just horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. If you're going to do female boxing, put them all on one card. Separate cards, male cards, female cards, and then people who want to watch that shit can watch it. Was he actually? Mario Lopez was fucking a rapper's wife. Yeah, I felt he got unlucky with Estrada, yeah. Good fighter, man. I want to see him back. One more fight, maybe. Exactly, bro. Yeah. When a society is so neutered, then they're just going to stand by as tyranny happens in plain sight. We saw that with COVID, right? Very few people actually voiced their displeasure about what was happening, and really, it didn't take much. You didn't have to be brave to fight against it. All you had to do was not wear a mask and don't get vaxxed. That's really it. That's really all you had to do. Because if enough people didn't wear masks, it would never be enforced. But there you go. It is what it is. People are too fucking, I don't know. Oh, bro, the amount of cope I've seen from like these lockdown zealots post-COVID is unbelievable. They know they got fucking hoodwinked as well. They just don't admit it. They know they got hoodwinked. They know they signed up to be guinea pigs, essentially. They know they were willing to sign away the rights of their future children, if we're being completely honest. And when I say, listen, if you took it and you felt it was the right thing to do, fair enough. But I'm talking about the people who were actively championing lockdowns and championing the idea of vaccine passports. If you champion those sort of ideas, you are selling your kids' rights away. You're selling your kids' bodily autonomy away, and you're giving government responsibility to dictate what goes in their bodies. Um, that whole thing was very nefarious, but a lot of people can't see it, you know. And that's the thing. If you promise a coward safety, they will sell out everything else, because all cowardice truly is a overzealous desire for self-preservation. That's all cowardice is, if you actually deep it. And that's what those people were willing to do, under the guise of safety. They were willing to accept vaccine mandates, vaccine passports. They were willing to allow businesses to get shut down, this, that, and the third. But there you go. It is what it is. It is what it is. But, here we are. 3 years later, COVID's no longer a thing. I am pure blooded. And, it's on to the next thing for a lot of people. It's on to the next thing. COVID's not a thing anymore. It's not this deadly killer anymore. Now it's World War III, bloody, 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 blah, So it's going to be something else. China, this, yeah, it's always, whatever, man. It is what it is. Yes, trash. Yeah, I love how they said, we're not coercing you. You just have to face the consequences of not taking the vaccine. Okay, hand me everything you own or I shoot you is not a threat. It's just consequences, right? Exactly, bro. All this word salad and nonsense. And then the stats came out, listen, man. They were missold to the public, like proven. Statistically, they were only effective for a very short period of time. The best the best protection is if you've had it already, right? Building up your antibodies and shit like that. But it is what it is. But listen, man, they'll fall for the next thing. Just like they fell for the idea that some dudes in caves in Afghanistan were a threat to their livelihood and their daily lives. Some guys in the cave in Afghanistan were a threat and were a threat to American security and Western security. Some guys in caves in Afghanistan. But they'll fall for the next thing, bro. They'll fall for the next thing. Rinse and repeat. And then this is the annoying thing as well. So it's easy for me to say, the Iraq War, Afghan War was full of shit. I was young then, so I could never fall for it because I was too young. So I'm looking back in hindsight. But we've gone through it with COVID right now. I guarantee you, this is what's going to happen in 6 or 7 or 8 years. People are going to look back at COVID and they'll say, "Oh, I always knew that was bullshit. I always knew that was bullshit." That's what they'll say, despite them falling for it. Just like a lot of these guys do with Iraq or Afghanistan. Yeah. I think Afghanistan was honestly about securing black budget. So basically securing the opium trade in Afghanistan. That's what I think that was about truly. To obtain more black budget by controlling the opium trade in Afghanistan for a few years. But there you go. I was ill last week. My Lucozade tasted weird. You sure you weren't hungover, Marcy? You sure you weren't hungover? Yeah, the only jabs I've taken were in the ring, and those definitely won't kill me unless you're fighting like fucking Beterbiev. But yeah, facts. But I'd say I'm glad it's all over. But it's one of those things, right? People are just going to fall for the next thing, and that's how governments take away people's rights and slowly erode them after time. Is by promising safety. Essentially, that's what they do. They'll package it as safety, but you'll be paying the price for it in some regards. It's like the Patriot Act, the Patriot Act in America after 9/11. When it was first introduced, it was kind of sold as temporary, but 20 odd years later, it's still in effect. Mass surveillance to a different level after 9/11. It's going to be temporary. It's going to be temporary. 20 odd years later, it's still in effect. You know, but it is what it is. And now there's this internet safety bill being passed in the UK. That is scary. Again, they masquerade it as legit reasons like protecting children, protecting public safety, things like that. But that can be twisted to suit any agenda. So public safety, for example, I criticize lockdown. Oh, I'm now violating public safety. I should be shut down. That's how these things can be twisted and used for evil and tyranny. But people are just going to sit by and idly accept it. It is what it is. You have a channel, Gene. Yeah, because you can't click on profiles, annoyingly. Honestly, though, bro, boxing is becoming infected with like PC culture, like the whole female boxing agenda, But it is what it is. It is what it is. We still have some good fights. We've had some good fights this year. We've got some good fights coming up. So yeah, I'll take what I can get. I'll take what I can get. But yeah, there's still some good fights, man. Still some good fights. Still some good fights. Okay. Let me. Apparently it's the Charlo press conference now. Charlo Canelo. Yeah, Canelo is Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. Sorry. Joshua versus Joyce. Honestly, I'd like to see it. Will I'd still like to see it. It's hard to say, man. It's hard to say. Both guys. Listen, Joe's coming off two bad losses. Joshua's coming off two wins, but he didn't look great in those fights. Interesting fight. It's an interesting fight. I'd love to see it, bro. I'd love to see it, but I don't think we're going to get it. Coppen said it earlier. I think the ideal comeback fight for Joe Joyce is Tony Yoka. Bacole is a good fight as well, but Bacole is again high risk, low reward. Bacole's got a fight coming up. Actually, I forget who he's fighting. Takam. That's not bad. Takam's coming off a win over Yoka. Why not? Bacole's got to stay active. Listen, I'd rather see Bacole fight somebody in their prime, obviously, but I'm glad Bacole's got some sort of fight. Yeah, I think Joyce would stop AJ late if a fight happened. Wrong style for him. It's a good fight still. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it. I was saying that as well, Will, in regards to what Joe does next. Maybe Frank tries to make that fight, Dubois too. Yeah, if Joyce doesn't get stopped early against AJ, then it does one. You wonder what happens down the stretch. It's a good fight. Yeah, Takan's still going to bring it for 2 or 3 rounds, even now. So I don't think that's a bad fight for Bakole, Takam. As weird as that sounds, I don't think it's a bad fight. Yeah, tough dude, man. Very tough guy. Good chin, tucks up well, can roll with a shot. Very just a veteran. He's a veteran. Usyk as always, bro. Maybe Zili Zhang now. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap this one up. It's a quick one. I'm gonna go to sleep. Actually, I'm fucking tired. Got an early start tomorrow. So yeah. Peace out, guys. Though enjoy the fights this weekend, even though it's Canelo. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. Peace.